24 to 10 on 3AW. That is the voice of Gene Bradley Fisk, and Mike Brady sitting opposite me, a fellow music man. A quick critique, if I can, of that particular track in this album.
The track's beautiful, I mean, obviously, but the album's got Up North, Down South, Out West, and Gene Bradley Fisk is the composer of most of the songs on it. But it's a fabulous album. It's such a gentle album. I listened to it last night and a bit more of it today, and it's got a real depth to it. It's very sincere. It's songs sung by an absolute legend in country music in Australia, but there's something really intrinsically honest and unpretentious about this album. I really loved it. I think it's superb.
Well, Gene Bradley Fisk joins us. How's that for a review, Gene?
Gee, that was a beaut intro.
Yeah, I'll send the accounts I'll send the account in the mail to you, Gene.
Okay.
But look, it's lovely. Congratulations. I've really loved it, and I think that, you know, some of the tracks on it, like Back in Bendigo, which the one we just heard, which is Boomer's Lullaby, such a gentle thing. I love the thing about the loggers, somewhere east of Mount Sabine. Evening in Paris, which you sing with your beautiful daughter Donna, who I've known for 1,000 years, and I'm going to let you. I'm answering all the questions I was going to ask, but you're hardly a prolific album release. This is the second album in God knows how many years, isn't it, Jan?
Yes, 1981 was a vinyl album I put out called Blood of a Rambler. And one of the songs on the title track of that, Blood of a Rambler, is written by a bloke called George Mooney. He's an American fella, and I've written to him over the years, and he's sort of retired now, but he sent me an album a few years ago with a track on it, which I put on this album, called Songwriter's Prayer. But, yeah, I know I haven't been a prolific album maker, but I did a lot of singles, Mike, over the years.
And EPs, I know, yeah, I know you have, and I've seen your name bob up so many times in the country circuit, and I'm just surprised with the quality of this beautiful album produced by a mate of mine, and I know a mate of yours, and Donna, your daughter's Michael Cristiano, and what a beautiful musician. And I just think it really suits the style. It's such a gentle album, isn't it?
Yes, well, I started recording with Michael when he and Donna were doing the Fisk and Christian thing, and he had a studio over in Altona and still does. And so I kept doing these singles, and then we did the EPs, and then when it came, you know, I'm a bit of a procrastinator, Mike, and also I was running around doing a solo act, and eventually I got. Well, it was Donna. She kept at me, and eventually, when we got to do the album, we decided that we'd put the tracks on there that we did the 5 other tracks over the years, plus the 7 new songs. So it's more or less what we call a body of work, and Michael Christian's work, of course, with his great production and engineering skills, and the musicianship, of course.
So how long has this CD been in the making then? Quite some time.
Well, yeah, we started recording last year, fairly late as I recall, late last year. We did it all over a period of weeks, and I think Mike remastered the other tracks so everything sort of fitted, and then he put it down on the album. It was his choice on the actual run of the album, but I was quite pleased with it, naturally. I mean, I'd be nowhere without Michael Cristiano and Donna. They're the ones that, Donna in particular, who is sort of my unofficial manager, and she does all the promotions and has done so for months now. She's been promoting it, and she organised an album, a concert, where we launched it up in Malmesbury back in, when was it, October, and which was a big success. Everybody was there, and I had a good time. I don't remember a thing.
It must have been a good time.
Well, it's a great looking CD too. It's got the big fold out feel to it. It's a great photograph. We looked at it last night, Simon and I just loved the look of it. But look, while we're talking about Donna Fisk, your daughter, who I've worked with many times over the years, not just in country music, but she's such a trooper. She's done everything. We're going to play track 8 off the CD, if that's okay, Gene. Another song that I love all the songs on this. I thought it was such an honest album, but I particularly like this with you and Donna. It's one of the 2 duets you do. It's called Midwinter blues in the middle.
Gene, I have to ask, now, I am only 40 myself.
He looks a lot older.
I know how old you are, Mike.
Now, Gene, I've known of Donna Fisk for quite some time, which means I'm guessing you've been around slightly longer, being her father. How long exactly have you been in the country music scene industry?
Well, I was in rock and roll bands. You don't remember me, I suppose, Michael.
Well, I've got a feeling that I do, Gene, but I mean, I was reading on the bio that it said, you've been 50 years in the country scene, but I figured, well, I didn't start before you. I reckon you started either about the same time or even before me. Is that right?
Well, look, it's 50-odd years in music, and you were in a band called MPD Limited.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a band called The Huntsman.
I remember The Huntsman really well.
Yes, I know. You worked with us a number of times, MPD.
I think I stole one of your guitar leads.
I don't know about that, but when the first words I ever said to you were setting up on stage, and we didn't know who MPD were, and we were working at the Waterside Workers Hall down on the Eastern Beach.
I remember it.
Yeah, and I'd set my amp up, my Burns amp, my new Burns amp, see, and this young fella comes up with an old Fender amplifier, and he jumps it on and bangs up against my amplifier, and I said, "Hey, son, what's the amplifier?" And this kid says, well, he was about 17 or 18, said, "Oh, sorry, sir, I didn't really mean to do that." And I thought, my gosh, this kid with manners. So the MPD came on the stage, and no one had ever heard of him, really, and all the musicians of Geelong were there to see what they were about. And they were all standing down the back of the hall. By halfway through the MPD set, all the musicians of Geelong were up there in the front of the stage watching you guys doing what you're doing. And the reason for that was we hadn't seen anything like it before. We were into Shadows and stuff, and we did a bit of Beatles, but you guys introduced something in presentation on stage which we hadn't seen, and so everyone was talking about it, and we used to try and take it off a bit too, so you were pretty good.
Oh, that's great, Jim. I certainly remember The Huntsman, but I don't remember being that polite.
Oh, yes, you were. Well, we worked with you at the Temperance Hall one night. That was packed out, and we also worked one New Year's Eve with you at Port Arlington. And if you remember, our manager was the late Alec Martin.
Yes, I do. Wow. Well, that's amazing, Gene. That's really brought back so many memories to me. I remember that New Year's Eve in Port Arlington as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you still down that way, aren't you?
I live down near back of Anglesey, near Mauriac.
Ah, terrific. Well, I'm down that way too, so we should catch up and have a coffee and reminisce, I think.
You never know.
Look, I'm going to give out, because I'm sure a few listeners will be interested in this beautiful CD. You don't mind if I give the contacts out for you?
No, that's all right.
It's if you've got a pen, it's if you look up the email, which is Gene Fisk, if you want this CD, which is Gene Fisk at bigpond.com. And what about the number, Gene?
My phone number?
Yep.
Yeah, you can get me on 52-661-346, or they can write to me, Gene Fisk, Post Office Box 740, Belmont 3216.
I'd love to catch up with you. I've got the number. I'm going to be giving you a buzz too, because I think we're overdue for a cup of coffee.
Okay.
Fabulous album. Congratulations. We've loved it. I grabbed it before Simon really got a chance to listen to it properly, but I just love it. It's a gentle and it's really honest. That's what I like about it. Thanks, mate.
All right, and thanks to Simon too, who was liaising with Donna over this interview.
Oh, no, our pleasure. It's great to have you on, and it's a fabulous album, so why wouldn't we?
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to say, as Donna said, when you go on, Dad, don't swear and no politics.
Good on you, Gene. Thanks.
Thank you very much, fellas. I appreciate it very much.
Gene, we are short of time, and I know we should be going to a break right this minute, but I have to ask, a quick Google search found a photo of yourself with Smokey Dawson. I love Smokey Dawson. He was just the loveliest guy. Tell us about meeting him in 60 seconds.
Well, last time, not the last time, but I interviewed him back when he was my age, and you realise I still haven't told you how old I am.
Yeah.
But he was elderly then, and I said to him at the end of the interview, I was on 3AW's then, with country music, and I said, Smokey, what about the future? And he said, Gene, I'll be living in it. And he was. He lived to 90-odd.
Yeah. I met him not long before he died, and he was a wonderful, wonderful man.
Well, he was.
Yeah, thanks, Gene. Gene Bradley Fisk. The album's called Up North, Down South, Out West, and it's a beauty.